It's not the result of this fight that's the shocking thing. If you told me, Carlos Prates was going to come out here and finish JDM within 3 rounds, I wouldn't have called you crazy. I picked Jack Della Maddalena. I figured his movement and his ability to get inside on Carlos Prates and his durability and his experience and Carlos Prates not being a super high output fighter would be enough to get him here. And probably some other things too that I'm fucking can't remember off the top of my head. But I figured JDM will win this by a really great decision. He's going to put on a boxing masterclass. But the way in which Carlos Prates won this fight is shocking. The manner in which he dominated JDM. I mean, if you were to tell, like, if you, I don't know, if you were new to the UFC and you were watching, these two guys fight for the first time, you would have thought Carlos Prates was the former champ and JDM was, the kind of quote unquote up and comer. If you took away their rankings, you had no clue who these guys were. Carlos Prates broke Jack Della Maddalena. Now, there was some kind of moments early on where I thought, oh, Jack, maybe he does have something. And it was a very slim moment where early on I thought he did a good job putting Carlos Prates on the back foot, landed some nice shots to the body. And I was like, all right, I kind of like how this is going for him, because one of the big things I thought that if JDM was going to win this fight, he was going to be able to keep Carlos Prates on the back foot consistently. And then Carlos kind of started to, lead the dance a little bit more. And then from then on out, it really wasn't that close. Carlos Prates was landing shots through the guard, landing knees and step-in elbows and body kicks and head kicks whenever he wanted. The one thing that kind of gave me a little slimmer of a hope as a JDM fan, and also if you're new here, I'm a big Carlos Prates fan also, was JDM lands a takedown at the end of that first round. I'm like, oh, is he realizing that Carlos Prates is just better than him on the feet and that he can exploit this? And I kind of did think to myself also on that point, I was like, Carlos Prates has pretty solid takedown defense. I don't know if this is going to be kind of a viable option for JDM for 5 rounds. And I fucking was right, because JDM kind of starts round 2 back on the front foot. Prates is still landed body kicks and knees up the middle. I kind of was just saying, man, JDM can't get anything going. The range of Carlos Prates is really bothering him. Also, early on, as I was saying before, when he's getting inside on the pocket and hasn't been hit by any elbows and knees, it's kind of easy to enter in there when you haven't really felt what's coming yet. And then after he ate like one knee and one elbow, he started to kind of enter in a little bit less. Then he kind of got Carlos Prates down again in that second round, slid off his back, and I was like, fuck, Carlos Prates was still landing all those knees, was getting through the high guard of Jack. Jack did have some moments, even when he was hurt, that he would just fire back and uppercut. Again, he's so durable. Like, lesser men would have fucking just quit right there. And I didn't even mention the fucking leg kicks and the calf kicks, which he dropped. What did he drop JDM like 3 times with fucking leg kicks? That was brutal. And he stunned him, I think, at the end of the second round. He was aura farming on him in the third round, where he literally, I think, knocked down Jack like maybe 3 times and wouldn't follow him to the ground because I think he wanted to get a highlight reel KO. Ends up dropping it with leg kicks and then goes to the ground. Mike Beltran gave Jack as much time as he could to fucking survive. It's just shocking how bad of a beatdown it was. Because, again, if Carlos Prates won, I was kind of thinking, like, it'll probably be, like, second or third round, and, he's starting to get through that high guard of JDM, and he just puts a fucking left hand right down the middle and finishes him. That's what I thought was going to happen. I honestly figured he was just going to find a perfect punch and finish JDM. I didn't expect it to be this lopsided. I knew the calf kicks, the leg kicks, and the knees were going to be a weapon for him. I didn't know that he was going to literally land everyone and cripple Jack's leg. I mean, Jack's movement was shot from like the end of the first round on, or early second round on. He couldn't do anything. And fucking, he's on the stool, like making visible groan. He's like, ow. And then his corner's like trying to tell him to stop being a bitch. Well, his leg, I wouldn't be shocked if it was broken. That was how bad it was. Carlos Prates, one of the best striking displays I have seen in a long time. I mean, the fact that he did this to one of the best boxers in the UFC is insane. And I know there's going to be a lot of, people who doubted JDM that are really going to come out here and kind of slander the guy. And do I really blame them? No, because you could just be like, oh, Bilal's his only decent win. And then maybe you're kind of like, maybe that's kind of right. But either way, I do feel bad for Jack. He looked just broken out there. Great win for Carlos Prates. I'm super excited to see what's next for him, because obviously, and he knows that he's not getting the next title shot. It's going to be Ian Garry versus Islam. He knows he's waiting for the winner of that one. But my worry with Carlos Prates is, and I haven't seen a ton of people talk about this, my worry with Prates is this. I imagine he's going to want to stay fairly active, and then, he's probably going to end up fighting Michael Morales. And what if he loses to Morales? And then it's like Islam, what if the Islam and Ilya fight happen? That's the kind of the bad thing about the whole Islam Ilya thing, because as much as you want the fight to happen, it's like there's so many fun guys at 170 that I kind of want to see either fight Islam or just fight for the belt in general, like the Morales, like the Prates, the fucking, hypothetically if Shavkat was healthy, you know what I mean? Like there's Ian Garry too. Even if I hate Ian Garry, I still like him being in the mix. And Jack, I know that he's far away from, he's getting knocked down a bunch of pegs right now, and I kind of expect him to fight the winner of Brady versus Buckley. That's kind of my prediction for Jack next. But man, Carlos Prates is a fucking scary dude. That was legitimately terrifying what he did to JDM. It sucks to see one of my favorite fighters go like that. You hate when they go young like that. But Carlos Prates is also one of my favorites. Either way, I am really kind of at a loss for words. I didn't expect it to be that fucking lopsided. That was insane. Jack needs to learn how to check leg kicks. And I don't even know if checking leg kicks would just save him. I think Carlos Prates might just beat him in every single world. Not might, would. And then, again, just how good is fucking Ian Garry? That's what I want to say. I think Carlos Prates has gotten a lot better since the Garry fight and would have a much better... I think he would beat him, honestly, in a rematch. I just said it. Maybe it would be close. It would be much closer. But I'd be excited to see Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates do sometime in the future. I know they're kind of friends now. But either way, sick main event. I feel... And I'll go through the rest of this card, as quickly as I can, because I don't want to keep everybody here for too long. But I felt like I lived 2 days with this card, because the prelims were absolutely terrible, right? They fucking sucked. And Beneil Dariush versus Salkilld was actually pretty fun. And let me go back to my prelim point a little bit later. I wanted Salkilld to make it fast. He did make it fairly fast. I think this was his longest finish in the UFC, longest time it had taken him to get a finish in the UFC. Dariush clips him early with a jab. I'm like, fuck. I know Beneil Dariush has power in his hands, but I didn't expect it to fucking happen. Tries to shoot for a takedown. This was kind of what I thought. I thought some people who thought Beneil Dariush could win or make this a little bit more interesting were underrating the grappling and the takedown defense of Salkilld, because he did a great job just being you're not going to take me down. I think he did get slammed, but Salkilld can scramble pretty well, showed good balance even when Dariush had the body lock on his back and was getting grinded up against the fence, defended the single leg well. They break off the fence. Salkilld hits him with a right, and it's over. And I thought kind of maybe it was an early stoppage, but it's why do you want to see Beneil Dariush take any more fucking damage? Beneil Dariush, your time is up. The watch is over. I'll see you in Valhalla, buddy. And Salkilld calling out Gamrot. Gamrot's not fighting any more fucking prospects. As the leader of the gamer army, we are not fighting any more prospects. And Salkilld, you're my guy. I've been a fan of you since before a lot of other people were. I don't know if you want that Gamrot smoke, buddy. Because Gamrot, he sees these prospects coming in here and he's like, fuck you guys. I'm the best fighter in the UFC. And he will smudge you. I think Salkilld would have a lot more success than Ribovic would against Gamrot, or did. But I don't think that fight's going to happen. But either way, Salkild's going to be ranked. Excited to see what's next for him. I'm excited to see Salkilld. I don't really know who's next for him necessarily. Maybe he fights a Moicano, or I don't know, somebody of that nature. I want to see this guy kind of get at, be a little bit more tested against a high-level opponent and have to, fight in those second and the third rounds. You know what I mean? Because it's easy when he's just nuking out guys like Beneil Dariush in one round. Good win for Salkilld, though. Moving on to Steve Erceg versus Tim Elliott. Really impressive performance for Steve Erceg. First round was kind of dealing with the autism maxing and weirdness of fucking Tim Elliott, where he's just throwing weird side kicks and a bunch of bullshit. And, Steve Erceg did a great job throughout this fight defending takedowns, where he would just, if he did get taken down, he just immediately scrambled to back up. Tim Elliott if you picked Tim Elliott, I was like, what did you think? He was going to fucking hold Steve Erceg down? Steve Erceg's honestly a really underrated wrestler and a scrambler. The first round, he kind of, again, he was just trying to figure out Tim Elliott, and I kind of figured Tim Elliott won that. He kind of clipped Erceg a little bit, and landed a late takedown, and I kind of figured won him a close round. And you could have given that to Erceg, I wouldn't blame you. But from round 2 on, Erceg was finding his jab, finding the right consistently, just looked really a lot sharper. I think also landed a takedown of his own sometime in that second or third round. I think it was the second round. Just was landing his jab and his right a lot more. Tim Elliott's movement kind of just became slower. He's still doing the same bullshit where he looks like he's fucking on meth, and, moving around the octagon all weird, twitching out. But Steve Erceg kind of entered flow state, and he looked really sharp in this one. I've always liked Steve Erceg. He's the fucking boy. But good win for Steve Erceg. Happy to see it. Tim Elliott, I don't really know why anybody picked him. I think they're just, I don't get it. Steve Erceg outstruck him. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention something. I don't even know if these strike numbers are right on Carlos Prates. I think it was like 120 to fucking 30. To get outstruck that badly is pretty impressive. I just want to, I just keep thinking about how sick that fucking Carlos Prates performance was. But moving on to Rahiki versus Ali Schmidt. Ali Schmidt, I thought when he first comes out there, I'm kind of like, oh, he kind of look, and then I heard he was from New York City. I was like, he's not that bad. I'm repping my guys, and Schmidt was kind of chopping the calf kicks early. I thought he was moving around well, but Rahiki was kind of making a miss way too much, was throwing up a ton of head kicks, was so fast. Wobbles Ali Schmidt with a right, and fucking kills him with a left hook. That was it. Good win for Rahiki, only 23. I don't know if this guy's ever going to fucking win the belt, but he's a fun guy to watch. I'll say that about him. Ali Schmidt, he'll get another crack at it sometime. And then, before we get into the actual terrible, one of the worst heavyweight fights you'll ever see, let's talk about one that was actually fun. Shamil Gaziev and Brando Pericic. Guys that were trading. Gaziev's trying to go in on takedowns, get Brando Pericic to the ground. They get back up. One thing that kind of pissed me off in this fight was, I think it was Rich Mitchell was I think there was 2 or 3 instances where Shamil Gaziev is kind of initiating the clinch, just holding Brando Pericic on the fence because he's fat and he has no cardio. And I was like, yeah, it's one thing if they're doing that in the lower weight classes. Give the heavyweights a little bit of break. It's already hard enough for them to get out of fucking bed. They were really fast to break up these clinch sequences on the fence today. But both guys were just kind of planting and throwing throughout this. I thought Brando Pericic, his hand speed was just so impressive. He looked so good. I don't know how Shamil Gaziev just didn't die in that first round. I mean, Brando Pericic was throwing up fucking head kicks, stiff jabs. He even got hurt himself. But Shamil Gaziev was just eating so many big shots. And Shamil Gaziev would just eat these punches and just keep walking him down. Wouldn't really throw, but we just keep eating the punches to the face. And then I think Brando Pericic, second round, kills him with the right hand. Shamil Gaziev literally fell in one of the goofiest Looney Tune ways ever. He hit the ground, you could legitimately feel an earthquake. I felt an earthquake all the way over here in South Carolina from Shamil Gaziev hitting the fucking mat. It was that bad. And the best part was Brando Pericic gets his hand raised and Shamil Gaziev still on the fucking stool. So they fucking brought a forklift out and a couple shovels to lift him up onto the stool, and he just never left. He was actually in the octagon still during JDM versus Carlos Prates. He was still in the octagon. He hasn't left yet. He's still in birth. But a really good win for Brando Pericic. Get him on that Serbia card. He's a guy I just really like watching him fight. It's an actual good athlete at heavyweight. Again, also, how good is Waldo Cortez Acosta? This guy fucking the touch of death on Shamil Gaziev, and Shamil Gaziev just quit. Brando Pericic was throwing bombs. Shamil Gaziev was just eating that shit. And then I don't even really want to laugh about this because this was legitimately a sad fight. Nobody actually could have predicted what Louie Sutherland was going to do to Tai Tuivasa. And I know there had been some mentions of Louie Sutherland's going to mix in the wrestling. Nobody fucking believed that. When has Louie Sutherland ever done that? This whole, I have notes for here, and this was the fight that literally almost put me to fucking sleep. Louie Sutherland just landing takedowns and just blobbing Tai Tuivasa. That was this fight. Tai Tuivasa would kind of have good initial sprawls and then just get taken down and has no clue how to get up. He looked like absolute shit. The first round was kind of funny. There was I think there was a fat man roll where Tai Tuivasa stuffs a takedown. He's blasting ground and pound, and Louie Sutherland with some fucking crafty Tiger Showman jiu-jitsu rolls out of there, and he reversed to get on top. The best moment of this fight, though, was in the third round. They get stood up because Louie Sutherland, I mean, he wasn't doing anything on top. He was just fucking blobbing there. Maybe he throws an elbow, or maybe Tai Tuivasa kind of moves his back 90 degrees. There was no action happening. And they get stood up at the end of the third round. Louie Sutherland tries an Imanari roll. And Tai, it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, because I was like, what the fuck did I just look at? And Tai Tuivasa ends up on top. He fucking kneed Louie Sutherland on the ground. When Louie Sutherland was on the ground and Tai Tuivasa was standing up, he kneed to a grounded opponent. Nobody cared. That was a pathetic fight. Louie Sutherland on 2 weeks notice, I guess, is a mythical fighter now. Calls out Marcin Zabura at fucking in Serbia. I guess do that one. Tai Tuivasa, I would legitimately cut him though. The Dallas and the Sheriff fight was kind of funny. You know what I mean? Because at least there were bombs, and you're like, oh shit, he could have won that if he had a little bit more cardio. I don't actually think these heavyweights train for fights. Legit, I don't think they do it until like maybe they're in camp. Outside of camp, I don't think they fucking put on gloves or train any jiu-jitsu. I don't think these people do anything. And it's even crazier. Tai Tuivasa was this close to beating Cyril Gane and fighting fucking John Jones for the belt. And now he's on, what, a 7-fight losing streak. I would cut him. I was on board with keeping him after Dallas and the Sheriff to lose to Louie Sutherland and to lose in the way he did. Because I thought, one note I made coming into this fight was like, oh, Louie Sutherland, you know, he can hit hard. He's got like nice calf kicks and can hit you hard. To get out wrestled and just blobbed on for 3 rounds like that, and to have Louie Sutherland fucking fat man rolling you and you have no clue what to do is embarrassing, and he should be cut from the sport. Now, here's what I'll say about the prelims, because I was going to make this point early and then I was like, I should just get into Beneil Dariush versus Kwon Salkilld. I felt like I lived 7 days with this card because the prelims were so bad. They were so long. The highlight was fucking Junior Tafa knocking out Kevin Christian. There was kind of a lot of, listen, if I was watching this at like 8 p.m. on a normal Saturday, I probably could have gotten more laughs out of this because I just like, at least I was awake. Some of these fights are putting me to sleep. Now, Cam Rowston looked really sharp against Robert Bryczek. I picked him to win this one by decision. That was a nasty pick by me to pick him to win by decision, not finish. Robert Bryczek, I figured, you know, he beat Brad Tavares, who I know sucks, but that was like impressive how he beat him. Cam Rowston just looked great. It was flicking kicks throughout this fight. Looked really good with his feints. Bryczek just couldn't do anything the entire fight. Rowston was landing combos when he wanted to, takedown, step in elbows. Had a really nice ground and pound throughout this fight. Was finding his jab really well, shooting it on double legs. Dumping Robert Bryczek, and the nasty ground and pound again, I can't understate. He looked really sharp with his elbows on the ground and just picked Robert Bryczek apart. And called out Marvin Vettori. That's a fight I want to see, Cam Rowston versus Marvin Vettori. Now, am I completely sold on Cam Rowston? No, I mean, this win didn't really change much for me, but it was very decisive. He looked very sharp. I don't know how Robert Bryczek didn't get finished because Cam Rowston legitimately 125 to 39 in the total strikes. He was so accurate, hard to hit because of, like, he does leave himself open to be hit just because of how, you know, his guard is with kind of how his left hand, I believe his left hand is out. But Robert Bryczek just couldn't find anything. He had like occasional moments where he ripped some punches to the body in the first round, but outside of that, Cam Rowston literally controlled the entire fight. It wasn't close whatsoever. Really impressive domination from Cam Rowston over Robert Bryczek. Actually a good middleweight fight. Junior Tafa, this woke me up. Because Kevin Christian, I mean, he looks like an Indian civil engineer. Absolutely shit. And the funny thing was Kevin Christian comes out of the gate firing calf kicks, and Junior Tafa's already hurt. And I'm like, fuck, are we really going to see Junior Tafa lose? And credit to Junior Tafa, he's like, fuck it, I got to hunt big bombs. Was finding that right hand and lands a left hook on Kevin Christian, wobbles him bad, drops him, lands elbows on the bottom. Whoever the ref was literally wanted Kevin Christian to die. Junior Tafa sent Kevin Christian to fucking, what's the Indian heaven? I don't fucking know. He sent him to Buddha. He sent him to fucking, he's reincarnated as an ant somewhere or as a cow. That was how bad it was. I know Kevin Christian's Brazilian, but he does look like an Indian. Good win for Junior Tafa, though. This is legitimately the only guy that he could be in the UFC. And then watching this fight at 4 o'clock in the morning or whenever it was like a different kind of experience, because I before this, there was all shit fights. There was one fluke. There was 2 fluke subs. Everything before this sucked too. And I was like, finally, and I like GM3, but we're going to see him get finished in a hilarious way. I'm going to get a good laugh on, and I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be fired up. This was so boring. Jacob Malkoun, I don't even think he should have won this fight. And he landed 3 takedowns, but GM3 was willingly getting taken down because he knew on the feet he literally had nothing. And actually, he did kind of have something, because he would like land these weird, like, winging left overhands that kind of were working. But Jacob Malkoun, the fact that this guy didn't just go out there and just bomb GM3 and put the immediate pressure on him. It made no sense to me. He nearly got subbed in, I think, the first round. He was in GM3's world. He got like mounted guillotine twice in this fight. GM3 nearly fluked it out in the third round. I don't know why Jacob Malkoun was so tentative in this fight. He could have knocked out GM3, got money. Instead, he just dances around, initiates grappling for some reason against a guy who has zero chin. The fact that you don't finish GM3 in 2026 is embarrassing, and I honestly thought GM3 could have won this fight. And the fact that it was unanimous, I thought at least it could have been a split for Jacob Malkoun. That was embarrassing. Colby Thickness, not a lot. The first round, he looked pretty sharp, right? Where he's throwing up all these kind of creative submissions with the triangle and then the fucking armbar. And he's throwing a lot of nice kicks early. But and had a nice guillotine in there, and he looked really impressive in that first round. I thought, oh shit, Colby Thickness looks good. And then as the fight kind of got stuck to being on the feet for the rest of it, I don't really think he looked as good. Vince Morales was landing his right a little bit more. Cody Thickness is I almost called Kobe Garbrandt, who's not even a real fucking person. But again, on the feet he just gives me nothing. He has his boxing shit. You know, he's got nice kicks, I guess, to the body and the legs, but that's really it. I just really wasn't that impressed by Colby Thickness whatsoever. He got wobbled pretty bad in the third round, so he wins the first two. Nearly gets finished in that second round, gets wobbled pretty bad, was on shaky legs, and survives. He needs to learn how to fucking strike. That's my take on Colby Thickness. The fact that this guy's been around Volk for like 8 years or something and is just so shit with the striking, and not that Volk's like fucking Mike Tyson, but you think he'd learn how to establish at least a good jab. You know what I mean? Ben Johnson versus Wes Schultz. This was a bit of a goofy fight. Ben Johnson, Muay Thai world champion, and he decided to initiate in the grappling pretty much at all costs in this fight. These guys are not UFC level, by the way. I mean, I know they're middleweights, but this is terrible. And Wes Schultz, I guess you keep him around because he got to win. Ben Johnson, they could eliminate the other 74 middleweights on the roster and you could be the only one left. And they're like, all right, I guess this is the future of the middleweight division as we bring in a bunch of like new randoms off the street. I wouldn't even want to see you in the UFC with the only middleweight left. You know what I mean? Like, you're terrible. Wes Schultz, again, this is kind of a little bit of a side complaint. I hate when some of these grapplers just are complacent and completely fine with throwing up submissions off their back and not trying to force scrambles or fucking reverse or sweeps or literally anything. I hate when they do that. It's like, why? You're the better grappler anyway. I know you could. Like, that pissed me off. Wes Schultz just staying on his back trying to throw up fucking submissions and doing nothing. Listen, I have plenty of notes on this. I don't even want to fucking go into them. Good submission for Wes Schultz. Ben Johnson got out of like 100 guillotines in this fight somehow. Like, he had survived like 100 submission attempts, and Wes Schultz finally got one in there. It was a terrible fight. Who cares? Jonathan Mikulev, not a disappointing performance that you couldn't finish Temba Garimbo, especially when I thought this was kind of a step down from fucking Oban Elliott. It was really a weird fight. Early on, I thought Mikulev was doing a nice job ripping kicks. Garimbo, I thought throughout the fight, did a good job with the calf kicks. And, you know, it was just a weird one. I wasn't super impressed by Jonathan Mikulev whatsoever. I honestly, if you're still watching this video right now, I am so tired. I've been up fucking for like 100 hours. I had to sit through these garbage ass prelims where I figured at least we'll get some funny knockouts. Like Temba Garimbo will die, GM3 will die. I don't even know, Don Marfam, I figured he was gonna win. At least we got Junior Tafa. I'm so fucking tired. Whatever. Jonathan Mikulev, you won by split decision against Temba Garimbo. I don't know how you didn't finish this guy. Just how bad is Oban Elliott? That's my take. I just wish he was more aggressive. I feel like the whole fight he wasn't really he didn't really turn it up until like the third round. And Damar Fan lost one of the weird, I think he verbal tapped to Cody Steele. Cody Steele looked really fucking good, honestly. Maybe I overrated Damar Fan and underrated Cody Steele clearly, because they had fun, like they had some fun scrambles, but and Cody Steele just gets him on this like creative knee bar, leg lock, heel hook submission. I don't really know what Damar Fan was doing, kind of playing around there with the heel hook, where like maybe he could have just forced a scramble, but it was a really impressive sub to get on a pretty good grappler in Damar Fan. good win for Cody Steele. I like this guy. Definitely a fan. Definitely made me a fan after that one. But just tired from this whole thing. The prelims were absolutely shit. One of the most dominant performances you'll ever see in a main event. Credit to Carlos Prates. He looks so fucking good. Sad to see my boy JDM go out like that, but Carlos Prates, really excited to see what the next woman. Shit. Maybe we do beat Elliott. Maybe we do. Who the fuck knows? I need to see his takedown defense against an actual higher level grappler. But thank you all for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. The doctor is signing off, and the doctor's fucking going to bed.